Here with Rusty Cagle, high school ABCA A-Tech Division One Coach of the Year, and then first ever 6A state championship, but second overall in Mississippi. Athletic director also, and we talked about earlier. You were a teacher for a long time too. So Rusty, thanks for jumping on with me.
Man, no problem. Glad to be here.
How many Disney trips have you made?
So my first one was when I was 30. I didn't go my first time till I was 30. And I have been probably 10 times since. I mean, we love it. My kids love it. My wife loves it. And we just go and have a great time, and we've just been, it's been something we do, and it gets us away from all the other things that we do.
How did you pull the trigger on that? To hey, we're going to do this since you haven't done it. That we're going to do this as a family.
My wife, yeah. Her parents, they went to Disney a lot when she was little. I guess not a lot, but they had been, and so they planned a trip when my son was younger, and so we went the first time, and they were like, "Man, he really loves it," and I was like, "Yeah, I really love it," and so we go, whenever we can.
Yeah, and you said your wife's a coach's wife, and they're good with that. Like they just make those decisions. Like, okay, no, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, she runs the house a lot of the time when I'm gone, and I have a daughter, and I have a senior son and a freshman daughter, and so when they were little and I was coaching football and AD and all that, she pretty much takes care of all that stuff. So you can't do the job I have without a wife like that.
How cool is it that you get to see your kids every day?
I think it's a lot cooler than they do. My son, who plays for me, he'll speak to me if he has to. My daughter she's a freshman, so she still runs up and gives me hugs in the hallway when I see her. But yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome having them here on campus. And our schools are all together, so even when they were in first grade, I could run over if I needed to. So it's been great.
Yeah, how many years has your son been on varsity?
He kind of split time as a sophomore and then played every day last year as a junior.
So how special is that? You win a state championship with your son on the team.
Man, I can't put it into words. It's unbelievable. I've been coaching him a long time, and he was a late bloomer. And, he goes from 5'6", 130-pound freshman to 6'2", 180-pound junior. And, I'm 5'8". And so I have it's just been, it was awesome to see.
I did a lot of those father and son episodes during COVID, and it was interesting because when dads were talking about the times that they coached their sons, it really did seem like that was the best winning percentage and the best that the team had ever done too. And I think there's an interesting dynamic when you're coaching your own son or daughter with the team, especially at the high school and college level. I think it allows the team to maybe see a different side of you as a coach.
Yeah, he would not agree that I'm a dad out there. He'd probably say I'm a little hard on him. But he's
That's a
my
common
catcher.
theme as well, that the dad's always hardest on their son, much harder than
Yeah,
the other kids. And I think that's where the kids see that. It's like, okay, they're not treating them any different, and they're actually probably harder on the
yeah,
player. So that probably
yeah.
gives the other kids a little bit of a relief from the son being on the team or the daughter being on the team.
Right. I have a great coaching staff. Some of the guys, Matt Hammond's my assistant, been with me 17 years. And so he's not scared to tell me, "Hey, back off. You're being an idiot." And my son's my catcher. So, he plays a part catching that pitching staff and handling the things that he does. So he kind of deals with my pitching coach during the games. And so it's kind of a good thing where we don't have that dynamic. I don't have to talk to him every single inning. And I think he prefers it that way.
How do you handle it in the house? It was easy for me playing for my dad in college because I could just get away. I didn't have to go home. I never stayed at home. How do you deal with that as a high school coach where you've got one of your players coming home? How do you guys kind of separate that out between player coach and then father son?
Head to the library at this time, and any juniors
So
that
we,
have their picture taken, please head to the
if he
library.
has a bad game, he'll be upstairs in his room. He won't have much to say. He's not a super talkative kid. He stays to himself, does his job, and he, if he has a good game or we have a big win, he'll wait for me. I hang out in the office after a game for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on win or lose, and talk about what we're going to do in practice. Talk about adjustments in the lineup. So he's home a long time before I am, but it's good and it's been great. I have no complaints. He's a great young man, and not just athletically. He's a good student, and he's just a good kid. And that's all credit to his mother. And I'm happy. I'm happy he's my son.
So you meet as a staff then after the games?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We meet as a staff, and we talk about what we need to do better. What we need to adjust, and plan practice, and just kind of talk about everything before I go home.
Yeah, is that a way for you to kind of decompress before you go home too?
Right, absolutely. My father-in-law was a Division I baseball player at Austin P, a catcher. My brother-in-law played Division I baseball. I played Division II baseball. It's a baseball family, so my wife's going to have questions for me when I get home as well about why I did this or why I did that. So I got to prepare myself for that kind of thing as well.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's amazing what wives do and what they go through. It's just good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, what's JB Fensmeyer meant to you?
JB Fesmeyer?
Yeah.
Oh, man, he's like a brother. I've been coaching Easton since they were 7 years old, and Easton's like a son. And it was, he's just a great friend. He's a great Booster Club president, and he never says no. And he's just awesome. He's just an awesome guy.
How long has he been the Booster Club?
How do you know JB?
I dig on social media, boss.
Man, that is awesome.
I do research. That's a thing. I know people just kind of listen in, but I do prep. That's why it kind of took us a little bit to get connected. Yeah. When I'll reach out to coaches to come on, they'll be like, I can do it tomorrow. I'm like, nah, I need some lead-in time so I can actually do some research. And I do, I take pride in how this comes out, and I want to be respectful of the guests too. So I dig a lot on newspaper articles, and then I do dig a lot on social media too.
JB's been the president since Easton was a freshman, so I guess 4 years. But he was a great friend even before that. I kind of bullied him and said, "Hey, as soon as we get to this point, you're going to be the president of the Booster Club." And he's like, "Okay." And he's kind of a leadership role in his job, so he knew right away what he was going to have to do it. So it's been great.
I think every good one, they start with their kids, but then they stay on. They stay on afterwards. So you're going to have to harass them into staying on after.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Hey, I read too, how do you balance tryouts? You've got freshmen going through baseball tryouts and football tryouts right now, correct?
Well, just football practice.
Okay.
So we don't allow our football kids that are in season, JV varsity guys, to come out right now. But we had to find a day for the freshman football players because they played on Tuesday. So we brought them out last night and just had a tryout with them, and then bringing them all back tonight for a scrimmage. So, yeah, just, there's more going on than baseball. And I'm the AD, so I have to look at it through the lenses of an athletic director a lot of times. And it can't be taking kids that are in football season out of their practice schedule and that type thing so you can have a tryout. You have to do what's right for them too.
And I was gonna ask you that too. It's probably a little easier for you to make that adjustment because you are the athletic director as well. You're trying to be fair to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to respect their sport, their season. I want them to respect mine, which they do, and I want to respect theirs too. So
have those tryouts evolved over the years since you've been there?
Yeah, we've gotten so big now. It's got to the point where we used to have a ninth grade team that we fill with eighth graders. What we don't pick as ninth grade, like a catcher, a second catcher, or an arm, or somebody like that. We fill it in with that, and we used to just try to piece it together, eighth or ninth, whatever we could do. Now it's mostly ninth, and we piece it together with eighth. Upperclassmen, it's really hard to make it if you don't make it as a freshman, just because, guys are not regressing, and now we're getting to a point where we're having to have tough conversations with sophomores that are struggling, haven't got a lot better or whatever. Say, hey, you got to come on a little bit, or we're going to have to make a change. So
yeah, I was going to ask you if you also do then you'll do upperclassmen tryouts still, even though you kind of know what your team is.
Yeah, lost your volume there for a second.
I just was asking about tryouts just because, you probably know what your team's going to look like, but you're still trying to be fair to maybe an 11th grader or 12th grader or kids that came into school too that maybe you don't know about that moved in.
Right. Yeah. We go in with an open mind. I mean, we try to take anybody that we feel we can develop into a player that may play at the next level. We feel like we're going to take them. Now, sophomore, junior, seniors, we kind of say if he's a sophomore, we got to say he's a 1 year away from starting. And then junior, senior, we say he's got to be able to come in and start or give us some depth in the bullpen. That's kind of how we do it.
I mean, with being at such a big school, do you deal with many multi-sport athletes?
I lost your sound.
With being at such a large school, do you deal much with multi-sport athletes?
Yeah, we have a few. My son plays all three: baseball, basketball, football. Thesmeyer plays some. I probably have about 8 or 9 kids that play football, and then I'll have a few, about 3 or 4 that play basketball, and then that's about it. I think I have one soccer player that plays in the winter.
So how old is Lewisburg High School?
18 years.
Did you?
I started the program 18 years. I started from scratch as a JV program in 2006. Our first varsity season was 2008. We were 3A, and now we're 7A.
I saw you're the lone ranger that's left, right? That started with
I am. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how gratifying.
I'm coaching a lot of kids that I'm teaching working with a lot of kids that I coached.
I mean, how gratifying is that you're at a place that you started the program from scratch. You won a 4A state title, correct? And now you've won a 6A state title.
Correct. Yeah, it's been awesome, man. It's a lot of great coaches never win one, and to be able to be in a position to win a few has been awesome.
I saw you got quite a few guys commits, correct? Going to the next level to play.
Yeah, I got 15 seniors coming back. I lost 2 guys from last year. I think I have 11 committed right now, and I'll be honest. I think every senior has a chance to play college baseball.
So how are you handling that with them? I mean, it's. We're in such a different time now for kids worrying about going to the next level, playing high school. Yes. How have you handled that with all of those guys?
Honesty, man. Honesty up front, and look them in the eye, talk to them like a man, and just tell them, where we see the truth, and ask them to be a team guy, get them in when we can, and love on them and try to treat them right. That's what we do. It's not easy, and I don't expect them to always understand, right? So.
Man, because the guys that kind of stuck out as I'm reading through is Talon Haley, Caden Baker, Sam Richardson was in the high school home run contest, correct?
Correct. Juice, big time juice.
Physical kid. I didn't know anything about him, and then I saw an interview with him. He's a big kid. Has he always been that big?
Yeah, he's probably. Yeah, he's been big since we were little. Since we were very young, he's been like that. And Sam is a great young man, and he did a great job for us last year. He came from a different school, moved into our school district. Mom got a job here. Dad retired. His dad's a retired superintendent at a different school district. And he was able to retire and
picture or have not had a picture taken for the
and came to our school, enrolled, and we were obviously ecstatic to have him, and he was great.
So he's kind of the opposite example. He's physically developed early and has continued to progress with his game.
Yeah, I mean, but he works, man. He works. He works hard at baseball. And he told me when he first got here, Coach, I've always been strong. I've had to work really hard to be a good baseball player, and I think some things that people may not know is, he could be difficult and say, hey, I want to play here. I want to play there.
Hey, Kelly.
And he says, I'll play wherever you need me to play. We talked a couple of weeks ago, and he said something about, hey, you see that pick I had at the Under Armour All-American game or whatever it was he was playing in? And I said, yeah, you might play a little first base this year. And he said, if that's what the team needs, and that's how you win. When your best players say, I'll play anywhere you want me to play or need me to play, that's how you win games.
So coming off a state championship with that crew, how are you going to handle it now? I mean, obviously you guys are lined up good with 15 seniors. Are you going to make any adjustments? Or are you just going to go off kind of what you did last year as well?
Well, we bring back a lot. We got to replace a couple of corner guys in the infield. I lost Gage Haley, a big Mississippi State commit, Talon Haley's brother, actually. And then I lost Jarrett Morris, a junior college third baseman, just a glue guy, tough, gritty kid, 3-year starter. So we have some spots to fill, but on the mound we're going to be better because we're going to have one of our best guys who threw 1/3 of an inning last year, Stone McKay, going to Ole Miss, and he was hurt, so he didn't pitch at all last year. So we're going to be better on the mound, and at the plate we're going to return 7 or 8 guys that got a lot of playing time, a lot of hitting, and so I feel like it's more of the. We have to be as hungry. We have to be ready to take the people's best shot even more this year than we were last year.
So with Mississippi high school rules, when can you get going in the spring?
Can't hear you.
With Mississippi high school rules, when can you get going in the spring?
Hey, I'm trying to get you. I don't hear you right now.
Yep. What about right now?
A little bit.
Okay. With Mississippi high school rules, when can you get going in the spring?
Nothing. It's just in and out.
I think it might be your Wi-Fi. What about now?
No, not enough to hear what you're saying. I can hear voice, but not much.
Hold on. It might be your Wi-Fi, but that's a good thing about editing is I can go in and clean everything up. Testing. No. Hold on. I'll get it.
No.
What about now?
Yeah, got you perfectly.
Okay. All right. I had to switch out. It won't matter on my end.
I'm sure you'll edit whatever you want.
Yeah, no. It's good. That's a good thing with it. Okay, so we're good now?
Yeah, we're good. Hear you clearly.
All right, perfect.
You were asking about Mississippi high school rules?
Yeah, the rules of when you guys can start.
Yeah, so we can start right after Christmas. We'll come back. We'll go to the ABCA in January, and then we'll come back and we'll get on the field. Typically, I go pick out one day, the best day of the week, and go out and then we'll work inside or lift. I'm a big guy of not trying to wear them out early in the year. We're going to practice. We're going to scrimmage. We're going to see what we need to see. But I want us to have some gas in the tank when it starts to matter.
So, when you're getting them out there for the first time and trying to go light into it, because you got guys coming off basketball too, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So how are you easing into it?
Just basically just shorter practices. We do a lot of fundamental type things, a lot of bunting, a lot of hitting, running, hit and running, just that kind of stuff. We don't go stay out there 3-4 hours. Maybe go 30 minutes on the field taking ground balls with a hack attack, and then back inside in the cages. Just try to divide it up enough to where it's not too repetitive before we even start playing. I want them to love baseball, and when you're in practice and everybody wants to stay and hit extra, you're doing about the right amount. When everybody's gone, they beat you out of the parking lot, then you're not doing very well.
How long have you used the hack attack for ground balls?
About 5 years. I use the juniors, and man, they're awesome. They're my favorite thing that we have. We got 2 of them. We had to replace the motor on them last year, but they are awesome.
Yeah, you're in SEC country. I started to see that more and more, especially with the SEC schools. When we'd go play Mississippi State, when we'd head down south, you started to see it a lot more. Now, we had to hit. We couldn't travel with that, and we didn't have managers to shoot, so we still had to hit.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, I know they say some of the Cavs will call me and say, man, y'all are lazy. Y'all don't. I'm like, man, we can take 100 ground balls by the time you take 25. I mean, just boom, boom, and it's awesome.
Plus, it's more game speed too.
It is. You can hit it in the hole, and there's so many things you can do with them.
Yeah. Is it more rewarding as a head coach to send players to the next level or assistant coaches on to other schools?
Probably send players to the next level. But both of them are very rewarding, especially kids that I coached that are now coaching with me. It's pretty cool. It's some of them, Tyler Scholl, my pitching coach, been with me, played for me and then went to college and came back. He's been with me 7 years now as my pitching coach. I got to do both with him. Hopefully I get to do both with him, What a great story. I told him in 9th grade, you're never going to get to play. Can I throw sidearm, coach? Sure. Go down there and throw sidearm. Tears up my indoor open. He calls me on Sundays. Hey, can you open it up? Can you open it up? Can you open it up? Sophomore year, he's 6 foot. He's throwing it about 65. Junior year, he's 6'1", 6'2". He's throwing it about 74. Senior year, he has 9 saves. We go to the state championship. Goes to Northwest Community College, sets their save record. Goes to Mississippi College, sets their save record, and just hard work. Just hard work. So it was pretty awesome.
How good is junior college baseball in Mississippi?
Very good. Humbles a lot of kids. I know you hear it a lot. D1 or bust, and this and that, and it's just not accurate.
Teachers,
especially for hitters, man. Division I kids going into hit as a freshman,
officers, they're going to go to the library.
You will get carved up if you're not really ready to hit. You will get carved up.
Man, are you discussing that much with your current guys? Like, hey, this is what it's going to look like at the next level.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about learning to have positive at bats without worrying about your batting average. I'm not a big batting average guy. I didn't even post it till last year. I made my assistant coaches, take at bats off the max prep so you could just see hits and that kind of thing, but you couldn't see batting averages because it doesn't matter in games that you win, that we want to win. Your batting average doesn't matter, and so it's about being a good teammate, moving guys over, playing the game the way you're supposed to play it, So, but I want them to learn how to, situationally hit and understand to make adjustments. I think I talk with Sam a lot. Wherever you hit Sam, he floated from 3 to 7 in our order last year, depending on how he was swinging. But wherever you hit him, he gets pitched the same. And I always try to tell him, be ready for what you're going to get, not for what you want to hit. Like, I know you want to hit a fastball, but you're not going to get one.
We have a change for the club today. The
Especially
sign
with a guy in
language club
scoring
instead
position.
of the auditorium.
I'm sorry.
Especially with a guy in scoring position.
Right.
So in your hitting during practice and then pregame, how much of it is situational hitting for y'all?
we do a couple of rounds of situational hitting, and we talk about it a lot. And because, our pitching is so good, 4 runs feels like 12. You get Talon or Caden or Stone or Matthew Osteen, Gunner, you get those guys on the mound, you give them 4 runs, and we throw it over the plate. It's really hard to score. High school baseball, you score on a good pitcher. You score on a hit, a single, an error, a walk, and then a dinker out in the right scores 2. I always tell them, we're not going to go out there and double somebody to death that's 88, 90 with a breaking ball. I mean, we're not going to do that. You're going to score by continuously putting pressure on the defense, running the bases well, playing small ball, and then you get a base hit, you get a couple runs. It's easier to hit up 3-0 than it is, down 3-0. So scoring those runs early is a big deal for us.
With those types of arms, how are you able to get them enough innings?
We're not.
Which is a good thing, by the way. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, it is a good thing. I mean, I have unselfish kids, man, and if I could tell you anything about my team, I would say that we are a team. Caden, last year throws 6 2/3 in game 1 of the state championship. They got a lefty coming up 4th at bat against Caden, and he was cruising, and his pitch count wasn't high. But I had that lefty in the bullpen, and I told Caden, I said, I would do it again and again and again. 2 outs, nobody on, up 2-1 in the 7th. I'm bringing in Talon Haley to face a left-hander every single time. Of course, you know what he does, right? He walks him on 5 pitches. Walks him on 5 pitches because that's baseball. But he strikes the next guy out. We win the game 2-1. And Caden was mad. He was a competitor. He's a competitor. He wanted to finish the game, and I wanted Talon to. One, I wanted to get a little nerve because Talon was a 10th grader. I wanted him to knock some nerves off of him and have a little success. And then, he comes out in game 2. He had a day off. I think he threw 7 pitches or something, and he had a day off. And then he started the next game, and he threw 6 innings. I think he threw like 80-something pitches in 6 innings. So, but, they all want to win. They all want to compete, and they do compete against each other.
And with that type of depth, how the Mississippi High School State Tournament set up lines up good for y'all too, because it's series all the way through, correct?
Yes, 2 out of 3, right?
That's awesome.
We want to play. We want to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, man, and we want to, with the pitching rules they are, we want to play every day, and so it does give us an advantage, But I will say this, in the North half, we go. Game 1 at Germantown, who was a really, really good team. We don't have any of our best guys to throw that night. So basically, we were going to throw off. We go out there and throw a sophomore named Preston Sowell, Gage Haley coming off Tommy John, who hadn't really pitched a lot, and Gunnar Gilmore, who had a partially torn UCL, who's going to have surgery, who said, just give me the ball. I'll go out there and compete as long as I can. I've already torn it. I'm going to have surgery. I'll go give you much as I can. He's going to the Air Force Academy, by the way, going to be a fighter pilot. That's the kind of kid he is. And we throw a no-hitter. We throw a combined no-hitter in the North half without throwing our guys. It's like, people step up. When it matters, they step up. And when you get performances like that, we come home and have our best guys available, and we end up beating them in a walk-off in the 7th or 8th inning, I think. So, crazy, man.
Did you know when you were playing that you were going to get into coaching?
Yeah, so my mom was a coach 34 years. She won a couple state championships in volleyball, and my dad wanted me to be an engineer. So I go like my first semester in junior college, like some type of engineering stuff. And I'm like, Dad, I want to coach. So the guy who opened this school was my middle school principal. I'm sure my mother probably bullied him to death to give me this baseball job here. So I got the job here as a JV guy. I'm 26 years old. I have no idea what kind of players I'm going to have or anything. And then I just fell into a great, great position. So
what'd you pick up from your mom from her coaching all those years?
My mom's a competitive person. She's just a competitor. And, I think if I can feed anything into my players, it's that, there's lots of speed bumps. You got to keep going. You got to keep going and keep working hard and keep competing, So that's kind of the motto we have here.
Is that your definition of competition, is getting knocked down and getting back up?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, uh, I think, talent gets talked about too much. Nobody cares how talented you are in the playoffs. These guys have pride. These teams you play have pride. They want to win, and so we talk about toughness a lot. We did some of the Omaha Challenge stuff. We kind of did it at the high school level, and it worked out perfectly. It rained. It was like 40 degrees or 35 degrees and raining every single day. We're outside pulling ropes and doing push-ups, and we just wanted our kids to show that they have more in there than they actually maybe let out sometimes, more toughness. So it was a great leading up to the season's thing.
Was this the first time you did the Omaha Challenge?
First time, right? First time.
So you liked it, right?
Man, and it was awesome. And just the weather made it better. We were out there flipping tires, tractor tires. And it's, in Mississippi, it's when it's 35 and 36 and raining, that's unusual. And I mean, it did it for the entire week, and we didn't miss a day. We were out there every day, push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, running around the track. We just had a bunch of things we made up, and they loved it. And then they got to come in and play volleyball, and that was highly competitive. Of course, they're terrible at volleyball. They get in the net I thought we were going to tear the volleyball net down most of the time, but it was fun. Played flag football, tug of war. We just did a lot of cool stuff. It was fun.
I think it's a great thing to do. We did it every year. I loved it, and our guys loved it. I think from the outside, people that aren't in the coaching space, team space, they just look at that and it looks abnormal, but they don't realize the benefits that you get out of it from a competitive standpoint, a team building standpoint, learning how to push through things. You can't do that all the time, but you do that once a year. It's not a big deal, and the return on investment on that thing is huge.
Yeah, I mean, they in everything you do, the kids have to believe in it, or it's not as good. And my players, they just bought in, and they had uniforms and the whole 9 yards. They really did a good job with it, and so that the credit goes to them. They were awesome with it.
Kids are so creative if you allow them to be creative. If you allow them to be themselves, they are so creative. I think they'll really surprise you if you give them the reins to a point. I think they'll surprise you with what they come up with.
Right. Well, we have boundaries that we have things that we expect our program to be, and they know those, and so we didn't have to do any kind of policing. They did it all, so they did it right, and it was great.
With your core covenants, I mean, when are you talking about those with your program?
When they make the team, when they make the team, we talk about I'm really big on we're not going to use profanity. We're not gonna have long hair. We're gonna hustle where we go. We're gonna sweep the other team's dugout when we go out of town. We're just gonna make sure we pick up all the trash and sweep their dugout. And we're not gonna be entitled. That's a fight that we have here. We're in a affluent area. Kids have money, and entitlement comes with that. And we just want them to understand that, giving is better. Sometimes it's doing things right when you don't have to is the best way to go, so.
You guys live stream your games?
Well, we try to. We have no hardwire internet connection down at our press box, so it becomes a hassle. And sometimes in the playoffs we do it, but we had a great program a few years ago, and it stopped working, and the company went out of business. And so we've had multiple companies call us about doing it, but we just, they don't follow through. And so we're just kind of waiting for some better internet access out there to start doing it.
How much interaction are you then having with the JV and the freshman team?
The JV practice with us every day. Yeah, we're together every single day with them. So they lift, they run, they throw, they hit, they do everything we do. They get the talk of, hey guys, on game days, you're not going to get to be in a BP group. Sometimes it is what it is. Don't worry about it. Get your swings in. We use some Tony Robichaux work while you wait. I mean, you're waiting to play. You need to go put the work in. When you have a time, go put the work in. The freshmen, we have a separate coaching staff that coaches them, and they practice. We're done by like 4:30. We start at 1, done around 4:30. They come in around 4:30 to 5. And I'll sneak in from time to time and watch them here and there. But we have 2 guys I really like that run that program, and they do a good job with them.
So what's your lifting schedule then in season?
We're going to lift 2 days a week for sure. We're going to try to lift heavy. I'm a lifter. I'm a maxer, that kind of thing. Not personally, but as a program. I want my guys strong. I think it builds confidence. I think when you see the results in the weight room, it makes you want to lift more. Kids get hooked on the weight room when they see results.
Are you doing that pre-practice or post-practice?
After practice.
Yeah.
So we'll get out there. Yeah, because I do a weight room schedule for everybody. So if you're in the season, you need to lift after school. We make an exception for our football team so they can lift before they go out on a couple of days. But most other sports, when they're in season, they need to lift after school because we only have one weight room. And it's a very nice weight room, but we want to make sure everybody has access.
What do you feel like the best lifts are for high school kids, most beneficial lifts for high school kids?
Man, I don't know if I have what's best. I think my opinion is I think falling in love with the weight room is best. I think there's no secret shortcuts. I think you get in there and you bust it. And I think I do like squat, and I know some people get away from the back squat. They go to front squat, but we want our guys to be able to know how to do it right. We take pride in how we spot, how we watch, and how we stay injury free by doing it correctly, so.
When are you introducing that to freshmen?
Day one. As soon as if they're in baseball in the fall with us, if they're not playing another sport, they will start being taught how to squat as soon as they get here. How to lift.
You have
whatever lift we're doing, they get taught how to do it.
You have a fall season too?
We have them all year, 4th block. So we have them an hour and a half every day. So when they get here with us in August, we start lifting immediately.
Love it. That's phenomenal. You and I are on the same page with that. I think the weight room changes kids from a mentality. I don't care if it's men, women, changes you in a good way from a mentality standpoint.
I think if parents give us their kid and say, make my son a man, our job ultimately is to make good husbands and fathers and productive citizens through baseball, and so, wins come when you have good players and you have good team, that wins come, but that's not the most important thing to me. It's somebody told me this a long time ago. It's how many weddings do you get invited to? That's the thing that you're trying to do, and so, winning will happen when you do things right over a period of time and you have the right players, you're going to win. So,
how are you getting parents involved?
We make it our program. We don't make it Coach Cagle's program and you stay away. We make it our program. And, we have work days and they run the concession stand after games. We go up in the office to meet. They bring us hamburgers and hot dogs and sausage plates and all that kind of thing, and so they take care of us. But it's definitely not a one-person deal, a one-person program. It's definitely a full commitment from everybody.
As an athletic director, how are you handling the other coaches and the other programs?
Well, we take pride in being competitive at everything. That's what we want to be. We want to be competent at every coaching level, and we want to be competitive. We're not we have not been great in football. We're a lot better. Our coach has done a phenomenal job, and I think he's hired some great people. And he's just got a lot of energy. And same thing with basketball. We had our basketball coach tragically die last year, 38 years old. got a virus and just passed away over a weekend. And so, he was awesome. He'd been with me for 15 years. He was a great friend. And so the people we hired were both assistants. One played for him and me, and then the girls coach, she had been his assistant for a couple years. And so they're continuing the legacy of building what he was building here. So we feel like we have great coaches in all of our sports, and we want to be competitive in everything.
You give them complete autonomy to hire who they want for their staff?
Well, and we have to have a teaching unit, but I'll work closely with them and do the best that I can. My principal is great with athletics, and he wants us to be good. And so he works with coaches, and I work with coaches, and we try to get together and do the best we can.
I mean, you seem like you're really involved with the family. How much when those kids were growing up were they around the program?
Oh man, all the time. I can send you pictures of my daughter on scouting trips. If you look through my Twitter, you'll see her. We're scouting. I don't remember what happened. My son maybe had a baseball game that night, so my wife had to take him to the game, and then I had to go scout a team we were going to play in the next round. So it was like, she's got to go with you or you can't go. So she's 4 years old, sitting in the thing with a radar gun, and man, great memories. My son, this is a great memory. He wouldn't want me to tell this, but he's 6 or 7. He's the oldest, and I'm out on the field, and he's out there, and he's like, Dad, can I get a shovel and dig for dinosaur bones out here? I'm like, sure, son. On the warning track, he's digging for dinosaur bones, and he was kind of a late bloomer with baseball. He started at the right age, but he was the youngest, and we probably babied him a little bit more because we were first time parents. We didn't really know. And my daughter's a lot further along than he was. I think girls mature a little quicker, but also she's the second child. And so anyway, we have a lot of great memories. And he was on that field when we dogpiled in 2013. And she was there, and then this year he got to do it as a player, and she got to do it as a sister again. So it was awesome.
I love it. Do you have a fail forward moment? Do you have something you thought was going to sidetrack you, but looking back now, one of the best things that maybe happened to you or helped you move forward?
As a person, or last year as a team?
I leave it wide open. Could be anything. Could be personally.
Yeah, last year my father died in January. He was my best friend. He got a sickness. Actually, I was at the ABCA when I found out he was sick, and I came home, and he passed away a couple of weeks later. And he was my coach, and he was my mentor, and so that was a huge hurdle. Personally though, I didn't act my senior year in college. I didn't in the way I wanted to. Not playing, I just didn't act the way I wanted to, and got held accountable for it. And so it's something that I felt molded me to make sure that these guys know we're character building, we're men building here as much as anything else. So
we need to bring accountability back.
That was a great.
I mean, accountability needs to be brought back, right? I mean, if you look at anybody who strays from the path and then continues to stay off the path, it's because they're not held accountable.
Right, and I think it starts at the top. As a coach, you got to hold yourself accountable. If you didn't prepare them, then you got to tell them. I didn't prepare you. I'm gonna come ready to go. And they have to take it as well when they don't, and that's what you want. You want self accountability. If you're always having to point fingers, then your team's not going to do well. They have to own it and say, we got to do better as a team, so it's kind of what we preach, kind of what we try to get them to do.
I think you're a good example of, if you want something done, ask a busy person to do it, because you taught your AD, coached football, coached baseball, you're doing other things. Like, I just think you're a phenomenal example of that.
Yeah, I love the high school setting, man. I'm 44, so maybe I could. I'm at 20. You're 21, teaching. Maybe people ask me about, do you want to go to junior college and blah blah blah. But I think my home is here at the high school level. I think that's where the impact is made. And I love what I do. I love my program. I love the people in it. Love the coaches, administration. And it's great that we built it from the ground up. And it's we built it, and it's not a me. And those guys that coach with me, deal with a lot because I'm probably ornery during the season, and so they have to. We practice on Sunday sometimes, or we practice a late Saturday, or whatever it is, depending on the weather. We got to get out there and get our work in, and they always show up. So it's a great thing. It's a great thing. And I tell people all the time, our coaches at other sports, every school is not like our school. Every sport doesn't pull for each other like our school does. All coaches don't get along like our coaches do, so it's a great family atmosphere.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. You look at, I don't care what level, the good programs, everybody's pulling for each other on that campus. Whatever campus you're at, everybody's pulling for each other and checking in on each other.
That's right. And there's no, like, there's room for everybody to be successful. There's room for, and I tell people all the time, look, football's the big dog at Lewisburg High School. I mean, football makes the money, and we've won a lot of games, and that's fine and dandy. But I know where we are in the pecking order. I know that a dominant football program, a good football program, runs the whole school, makes a positive community, and our football coaches have done that. So I'm happy that. I mean, I got no problem saying that. So.
What are you using for time management? I mean, you have a crazy schedule. What do you use to get to where you need to get to when you need to be there?
I get up early, stay up late, and have great assistants around me. I got 3 guys that are with me in the fall with baseball. So when I need to go be AD, one of my assistants is running the weight room, and I have another assistant that basically is baseball operations. He does our ABCA stuff, our clinic fees, and what we're going to buy, that kind of thing, scheduling buses. So just being together a lot of years, everybody knows what they're supposed to do. Nobody's doing nothing, and so it makes it easy on me. When I need to go, I'm able to go. The biggest thing that I think that I feel like that we try to do a good job in my family of is balance. Go as hard as you can in academics, go as hard as you can in athletics. But, we go to church on Sunday, and we're going to do family things together. So I don't feel like, and I tell my son this all the time, squeezing baseball like it's everything it's not going to be as good. Baseball is a game where you got to hold it like sand, just nice and soft in your hand. And if you squeeze it hard, it's going to go through your fingers. And you got to love it from afar.
What are you looking forward about Dallas this year, besides getting to walk on stage?
Well, I'm a big LSU fan, so I hope I get to get a picture with Jay Johnson. That'll be something I hope I get to do. Dallas for us is just a great time for our coaches to hang and go eat dinner and talk baseball. And it's just, because they all teach class. All my assistants teach class, and so I'm back here doing AD stuff, and they're in the classroom. And, a lot of times our paths don't cross as much until 4th block, but just getting to see those guys enjoy it, and it's a perk. I would say it's a perk of the job, getting to go to those things and hang out and listen. And we'll pick out a few speakers that everybody wants to listen to. But just being there is great. There's a place in Dallas that has like just a big grill of meat, and you get to go in and just pick what piece of meat I can't remember the name of it. We ate there last time. Man, it's awesome.
I always want to call it
again.
Hard 8, but it's not, but it's close to the Gaylord. I've eaten there. We ate there last year for my boss had never been, so I was like, hey, we're going to go to this barbecue place, and the guys in the office could not believe that place. It's so good. So good. But that's almost like a coach's retreat. I think that's why we get so many people to show up. It's before the season starts, and you said it, like, high school guys are busy. Everybody's busy. It's a chance to catch your breath a little bit, enjoy some fellowship, and then get ready for the season.